can start now. Hello, everybody. My name is Ashley Sharma, and today I'll be doing a speech about how we should not keep whales, also known as orcas, also known as killer whales, not in captivity. So start off, think about the differences between orcas and us. Obviously, there's differences in physically and genetically, but the bottom point is that we all still have life. Now think about what makes the orca's life different from our lives. Many do not realize that animals experience emotions as well. So they also experience pain, suffering, stress, affection, also love. We must care for these massive creatures and let nature take its course and not lend any human aid to the ecosystem. Though there are some benefits of keeping the killer whales in captivity, it still does not outweigh the drawbacks that this act pertains. So I want to give credibility to the sources I used today. So much of my information I'll be sharing with you today came from an article from the Los Angeles Times by Jeremy Rifkin, an article from Animal Welfare Institute by Amy Owen, 2 facts pages about whales, and a famous film called Blackfish by CNN Films. It's about orcas, especially think about Tilikum in SeaWorld. Anyways, to start off, we must bring a halt to these outrageous acts and protest against these facilities to ensure that these magnificent animals are being brought up in their natural habitat, even if it's used for research. Orcas are not violent animals. They're actually very friendly and nice, unless, of course, if they feel threatened. And just like any human being or any other animal, they're obviously going to attack or try to defend themselves. We need to voice out our opinions about how and where we should retire orcas into the ocean. Since 1961, 150 orcas have been captured and 127 of them have died, according to Jeremy Rifkin, the chief organizer of anti-biotech movement. Despite the many deaths, we have observed and studied these animals thoroughly to form a better understanding of how they live. We must also keep in mind the rarity of these animals. According to the Red List of the International Union for Conservation of Nature, they classify killer whales in the data deficient group. But the reality is that some specific populations are already endangered. So data deficient basically means there's not enough information out there to prove that they're endangered, but still there are some primary sources that say they're endangered, so it's kind of like, gotta pick a side, you know? Now I bet you're curious that if we did not have marine parks, such as SeaWorld, where would we go to see these animals? The correct answer would be the ocean, because they're a natural habitat, yet locating where the whales could be could be miles and miles into the ocean. With the amount of people visiting SeaWorld, it'd be ludicrous to take them all to their little habitat. Providing whale shows at marine parks gives everyone a chance to see the killer whales in action and learn about them. Not only can we learn about these animals, but we are also rescuing them from the horrors of nature. There are many threats in the ocean, such as predators, pollution, and parasites. But by taking in the animals and breeding them in captivity, we let them grow in well-facilitated marine park or aquariums. Orcas also get ill as well due to fungal or bacterial infections and parasites that can undermine their quality of life. But with human interaction, we would have the ability to keep the animals from getting sick through administering vaccinations when needed. This would lead to repopulating the already endangered species. However, keeping wildlife in captivity can lead to disrupting their way of living and can hinder their abilities, since they wouldn't be able to fully express themselves. Many think that the animals used in marine parks are happy to entertain people at their shows, but according to Amy Owen from the Animal Welfare Institute, in reality, these animals suffer from stress and anxiety when kept in captivity. Much like humans, animals are not fond of entertaining for selfish purposes and not getting any reward out of it. An example would be from the film Blackfish. When the whale was told to do a task, and upon completing the task, it was promised food, but it was actually given only a fish or 2. And that's kind of not a lot for a massive animal, such as a killer whale. So, though many agree keeping these animals captive can be educational, A variety of considerations normally lie about the living habits of these animals. They are kept in a tank that does not resemble their natural habitat, and they are trained to behave in ways they would not in the wild. This creates a false atmosphere for families and future researchers, since the animals' ways of living has been altered to how we want it to be. We should join hands and come together to preserve these animals from a distance and retiring the orcas and letting them live their life out in the wild with their pods. Because even though there are some benefits of keeping killer whales in captivity, there are still not enough to outweigh the drawbacks. You are not the only one who has a life. They do too, and we must not ruin it. Thank you.
Thank you.